we get burned out, we are stressed, we are seeing how many people are depressed. It's not normal how many people are depressed. And why is that happening? My name is Ella Morello, and this is the Higher Self Talk, where I aim to bring to you different perspectives so you can have different insights, so your questions can change rather than bring you more absolute answers. What is my invitation here with this work? Is for you to see the moon as another possible way of self knowledge. What we are going to do here is by knowing the energy, the invitation of each phase of the moon, we're going to be able to start asking and knowing our own selves. Okay, you're going to understand that there are two different things here. One, for you to keep in mind, the energy of the new moon is always going to be the energy of the new moon with its characteristics. It's dark outside, is calling us for silence, to rest. Okay, also is related to the winter. What animals do in the winter? They are not outside, they are inside. They have prepared themselves in order to be able to survive the winter, and so on. So I'm going to talk specifically about each phase. However, this is one way that I need you to understand that the phases of the moon are always going to invite you for something specific. If you have watched the live about the full moon, you know that on top of this self-knowledge tool, you can add astrology to it, because each moon, each phase of the moon is going to be happening in a different sign. Okay, so this is the first step. We're not talking about astrology here today. We're talking about energy of the moon. And the invitation for you, woman, is for you to start perceiving your own internal moon. Okay, because we are going to feel much more the moon that is in our body, that just like the moon outside changes phases, 4 phases. This is going to influence us much more than simply observing the moon that is in the sky. However, if you are a man, you can also benefit from the moon as a tool of self knowledge. And how? The moon is going to influence yourself because it influences water, it changes the level of waters. And your body is made 60 up to 70% of water. So you are influenced by the moon. So if you are a man, or if you are a woman who does not have your period anymore, you already went through menopause, you can absolutely use the moon as a guide as well. And you're going to observe yourself based on the moon outside. Now we know that we are going to use the moon as a tool for self knowledge. And why is that? First, in order for us to evolve, we need to be aware of our limiting beliefs, of our patterns. What are those? A lot of us have traumas. A lot of us has stories that of something that happened to us, right? And all of this is imprinted in our unconscious. And automatically, we keep reacting to different situations in the same way. Whatever experience you may have. Let's say, for example, you put your hand on the fire when you were a kid. You learned that you cannot put your hand on the fire because you're going to get burned. So automatically, you already have this information in your unconscious. It is right now automatic that you know that you're not going to put your hand in the fire, or in case your hand goes close to the fire, you quickly are going to take it away. This is awesome for us, for whatever we need in order to survive, right? However, we do that with feelings and emotions as well. And that's how we start building defenses. For example, if you had a relationship in the past and that was something that really hurt you, you for sure created self-defense mechanisms that are imprinted in your unconscious. And even though you might want to manifest a love right now, all these things that come automatically, like they were reality for you. For example, be careful, you might get hurt. Be careful, you cannot trust people. Be careful, look what the person is doing. All of this is this part of yourself trying to defend yourself not to feel that pain again. So that's why it's so important that we examine our limiting beliefs, that we examine whatever is in our unconscious is in order for us to attack the root cause of the problem, okay? Because just remember that whenever we have a reaction, that's because something, a person or a situation has triggered us. It's like it has touched our wound. And when it touches our wound, our first reaction is just like the hand in the fire. You take away. In the emotional case, we have an emotional reaction. It comes automatically. Okay, so the moon is going to be here as our ally for us to learn about ourselves. A beautiful tool that I love using for this journey in the moon, it's called Moon Mandala. Okay, that is really easy, is a way that you can track how you feel in the 4 different phases of your cycle and also of the moon. However, it's important that you understand that this knowledge is not a cake recipe, okay? Anything should be a cake recipe. We are so used to wanting answers, right? So we go to school, they teach us, well, this is how you do an equation. That's how you get from point A to point B. Our society, the world we live in, as of right now, it's dominated by the masculine energy. Once again, I'm not talking about men and women. I'm talking about energy. And the masculine energy is that of the focus. The masculine energy is organized. The masculine energy is linear. You learn, we are constantly wired to go from point A to point B. And what happens with the feminine energy that is cyclic, that understanding changes throughout the month? Well, it is relegated in the society we live because time is money. We work with the times of the machine. You are supposed to go to your work from this day to that date, from this time to that time. And what about your internal cycles? We are so far away from our nature, our cyclical nature, our feminine energy. And the consequence of this is we get burned out, we are stressed, we are seeing how many people are depressed. It's not normal how many people are depressed. And why is that happening? If you constantly say someone to operate apart from their nature, one can just go up to a certain point, pushing through life instead of flowing with it. And that's why the moon, as the self knowledge tool, is here to help us remember about cyclicality. The moon is whole all the time. However, it changes phases and embraces all the phases it has. It's not worried because that, right, oh, I'm new and I'm never gonna get full again. We, as humans, we do that all the time. We like to be just only under the influence of the waxing moon, which is the masculine energy, which is that phase of action, organization, of productivity. And whenever we believe we have to rest, whenever our body is asking us to rest, we're feeling guilty. Or even worse, we go, we swim, and then we're tired. And then we don't see purpose in life. We don't understand why we're doing what we're doing. And then we are sad, and then everything is out of balance because how can you love the way you were wired to love? To have this relationship with your family if you are absolutely exhausted because of something else, because you're not embracing your whole multifacets that you have. What this is, basically, this is a tool that is going to teach us about our cyclicality and also a tool of self knowledge. Because first we need to have the self knowledge and then we start going into the holes, each one of these questions, and we start transmuting. We start bringing from our unconscious to conscious, changing, choosing differently. And that's when we start our self development. For me to know what is wrong, for me to change my life, first I need to understand what is wrong. Okay, so that's why this is a great tool for us to start exploring our cyclical nature and what is not a cake recipe. It's not uncommon that I receive messages like, I menstruated in the full moon. What does that mean? Or someone else that goes and say, it is the waxing moon, and I read that this is something bad. What does that mean? The idea of this work is for you to know yourself. So my question to you is, what does that mean to you? You are just going to be able to answer those questions when you start your path of self knowledge. Why is this an opportunity? A really beautiful opportunity. Whenever we embrace and we understand our cyclicality, we tap into some other part of us that has been sleeping, that has been dormant, which is the subtle, that of what the eyes cannot see, but your heart can hear. Embracing your wholeness is the whole idea of working with the moon. What are the results one can see when doing this work? I already told you that we're going to go through 4 different phases, just like the moon, correct? So now you're always going to use whenever you use your mandala, you're going to get at least 3. So you have a good base for comparison. And you are going to compare the first part of your cycle, month 1, month 2, month 3. You're going to start seeing patterns. You're going to understand how you feel when the moon is new outside. And then you're going to compare the second cycle. You're going to understand how you feel when the moon is waxing outside. It's not how I feel, how anybody else feel, what is right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. Again, not a cake recipe. So you need to do the self-knowledge exercise. Okay, and how does this is going to help you? Well, now I know that in the first part of my cycle, and this is only an example, I feel more tired. I don't really like to be around people that much. I'm not that good in organizing. Let's put it this way. In the second part of my cycle, oh, I know my mind is super quick. I have mental clarity. I'm not reactive. So, how does this help us in our life and start changing our lives? First, we're going to learn whatever is that is not aligned with our highest good in order to be able to work on that, right? To change our life. This is number 1. Number 2 is, okay, now I know that I am without patience in this part of my cycle. I'm going to see my mother, me having the consciousness that I already don't have that much patience right now. I'm already gonna go there prepared. If she says something I don't like, I'm gonna breathe in and I'm gonna know, okay, I'm in my reactive mode. Let's deal with it in a couple of days where I can actually use my mind in order to respond to that. Another thing, if you know you're good in organization and mind clarity in that period of your time, okay, let me put all the work that I have to do. I have to talk to the accountant. I have to talk to the boss. I have to present this. I have to talk to the client. Let me put this type of to-do list in that part of my cycle. Oh, I'm super creative in the full moon. Let me try to work on that project that I like. And every full moon, I'm going to write about it because I know it comes easier to me. Obviously, in this modern day that I said, we live by the time of the machines. It's not always possible for us to say to our boss, listen, I'm in my reactive mode. I'm not going to work today or I'm not going to talk to that client. However, what is the advantage you have whenever you use the moon as a tool of self knowledge? You're going to look outside, you already know emotionally and also intellectually and physically how you're feeling. So, as I said about the mother, you go prepared, you help yourself. If your minds are not clear, try not to present that meeting, or if you have to, prepare a little bit more for it because you already know your mind is not that quick. Okay, so those are the benefits that one can get by working with the moon as a tool of self knowledge. The correct way, one way that I really love doing, one, you can do journaling, but I really like to work with the moon mandala because it's easier for you to understand it and compare, understand equations, and so on. The way that I don't recommend, don't suggest for you to work with this is only by relying on your mind. Oh, I remember the last new moon I was feeling this way. Write it down because you're going to miss points, important points. And by the way, whenever you're writing it down, try to be as succinct as possible. Don't say, I felt this way because my father told me that, because my husband told me that. It is, I am feeling, because then you can compare. It's easier than for you to read the whole diary of what happened in that day. How is my physical body? So I invite you to use the moon and ask yourself, how is your mind? How is your emotions? And how is your physical body? What do you like to eat? How you like to have sex? Do you want to do exercises or not? So let's get to the basic understanding of each phase of the moon. Okay, if you want to learn, once again, how to apply this with astrology, I invite you to go watch the other talk, okay, that I went a little bit more deeper into the astrology part. So, what is basically the energy of the new moon? Well, the new moon, as I said a little bit here before, is when you look outside, everything is dark. The new moon is related to winter. Also, the new moon translated to our own selves. It's time to rest. It's time to connect with what our eyes cannot see, connect to the subtle. Your dreams are going to be really auspicious. Pay attention to your dreams. Another subject of the new moon would be your capacity to sit in silence. Also, allow yourself to rest. New moon has also to do with new beginnings. It's the beginning of a new cycle. What is the seed you want to plant for your whole next month? I'm going to ask you a couple of questions that have everything to do with the phases of the moon that I'm going to be telling you here. So you can watch this video as many times as you need. So pause, write the question down, and start asking, questioning yourselves whenever the moon is in that phase. So you can start. I want to give you something to start right away, using the moon as a tool of self knowledge. And obviously, these are suggestions by my work doing this for a couple of years. If you want to add other questions, great. If you want to go deeper in one of these questions, great. That's the invitation. And again, these questions is for us to go one step to peel one more a layer of the onion. Okay, so that's how we start learning about our unconscious patterns. So, a couple of suggestions for questions in the new moon that I wrote here for you would be, what do I want to transmute in my life? Write down everything you know you're ready to let go of. What do you want? I'm not saying if you're capable. What do you want to transmute in your life? Your controlling issues, your jealousy, your sense of not deserving. What is it that you want to transmute in your life? Second question, which fears do I still need to overcome? Third, with what energy do I want to connect with? And here I'm asking, do you want to connect with the energy of abundance? Or are you still choosing, even if unconsciously, to connect with the energy of the victim, where life happens to you and not through you? Which fears am I ready to burn? What do I want to attract into my life? What are my intentions for this new cycle? What do I need to clarify inside of myself so I can feel whole again, one with everything that is? This moon has everything to do with the wise woman, with the subtle, with our connection beyond the material world. So the invitation is for you to surrender into the unknown, okay? Working, of course, on your trust on yourself, but especially on your trust in life. Another question for you to ask here. Do I hear my body? Do I perceive my tiredness? And listen to it, okay? Let go of any mental clouds, in order to hear your heart. The next phase after the new moon, if you look in the sky, the moon it starts to appear again. That's called the waxing moon phase. What are the invitation of this phase? What is the energy of this phase? Action, masculine energy, organization. Transform our intentions of the new moon. The intention is, how do I want to feel when I reach that? Here, we are going to transform this intention into goals. How am I going to manifest this goal? And then you're going to do a list. I have to call 2 clients more a day. I have to work 1 hour a day on my project. I have to. So this is transforming intentions into tangible goals. This phase of the moon is really nice for you to let go of a bad habit because your willpower is going to be to the roof. So if you're ready to let go of something for a long time, this is a great moon for you to do that. The questions I am inviting you to ask yourself is, which thoughts do I choose to feed on my mind that will become my reality? Which are the thoughts? They're self-destructive thoughts or they're serving your highest good? Remember, it's not about where you are. It's where are you headed? What do you have to change in order to be able to manifest the life that you want to manifest? Second question, which fears am I going to overcome today? Remember, this is the moon of the action. First, you figure out in the other moon about what are my fears? Which fears am I overcoming today? Another question, how do I feel my personal power? How much initiative and proactivity I am developing? In what do I need to be more organized and pragmatic? Because here is the thing, even though this is the masculine energy, this is the energy that we are used to in this linear time, the times of the machine, there is a lot of things that we could perpetuate into ourselves. And we have to ask these questions. Am I organized enough in order to be able to build the soil to manifest my intentions? Or am I going to have to learn something? How can I organize myself better? Am I going to have to learn Excel? I don't know. I'm inventing. What is it that you can do for yourself to help you build this soil? These are the questions of this moon as well. Another one, what is my leadership abilities? Of course, if you have said, oh, not that good, great, action. What you're going to do, what you're going to learn in order to start bringing these talents, start bringing this characteristic into yourself in this phase of the moon. So the invitation is for us to start action and movement, invites us to connect with our desires. Now we reach the full moon. What are the energies of the full moon? The full moon is known for the release. Okay, there's a lot of rituals of burning whatever you want to release. My invitation is if you're doing this journey through the moon as a self-development, self-knowledge tool, I invite you to ask yourself, now that I'm in the middle of the cycle, look back my intentions of the new moon. What am I not doing in order to reach my goals? And now I'm going to burn that. It can be a limiting belief that I'm not good enough. So start burning and releasing whatever it is that is not aligned with your new moon intention. Also about the full moon, just like the moon, you're more magnetic. So you tend to feel more beautiful. You tend to nourish the other. So think here with me. In the new moon, we were really feeding our soul. We were working on our connection. Then we go to the waxing moon, and now we are putting everything into action. We are manifesting everything. Now we reach the full moon. Now that I have fulfilled myself with everything that I am, in the full moon, I'm going to share, I'm going to nourish others, I'm going to communicate, I'm going to be more social. Also, really important about the full moon is for us to pay attention that whatever we are feeling in that time is going to get amplified. If it is something really good, get amplified. Something that we consider really bad, it gets amplified. So watch everything that comes up and ask yourself, what am I feeling? Great. This is being amplified by the magnetic of the full moon. Questions that I'm inviting you to ask yourself in the full moon. What do I want to improve in the way I communicate? How can I work on my empathy in order for me to relate to the other from a non-selfish point? I need to be able to feel, to deep listen the other person. How do I experience the no? When people tell you no, ask yourself, how do you feel? Okay, as I said, every single question of these ones, we can jump into a much bigger pool of understanding what is in our unconscious. So this is just the surface. I'm trying like start. I want you to start. What are the questions the moon can help me access? Another one, how do I experience frustration? Because the goal here is never for us to stop feeling frustrated, but rather for us to learn how to deal with our frustration. Another one for the full moon. Do I share what I truly feel? Or do I believe I have to lie? Because if I really share what I feel, I would be alone. I would be misinterpreted. No one's understand me. Do I know how to ask for help? This is also a big one in the full moon. What do I need to develop in order to help others? What do I want to share in this lifetime? Don't let your life simply pass by you. You came here to share, you are important. What is your medicine? What are you bringing into this world that you are here, just you can share with all of us? What do I need to be more flexible with? Okay, every time we deal with others, we have to remember how to be flexible. Now, the last cycle of the moon, which is the waning moon. So after it fulls, it starts losing the light. This, in an internal woman's body, it's the PMS phase. So now you know more or less what is coming here, because besides women that do this work, I don't know anyone who says, oh my God, I love my PMS. Usually women are like, I'm not me in my PMS. Oh my God, I want to kill everyone. Or I can't stop crying. Or I don't know what's going on with me. Let me tell you something. Actually, what you are in the waning moon, what you feel there is who you actually are. But what happens in the waning moon? Your unconscious mind is in the front. Your unconscious mind is what is giving you the direction. So what happens? You're not being able to put under the rug certain things that happen and pretend that thing is not happening to you. So when you have this switch of understanding and look at your PMS as a great opportunity to tell your own selves, listen, I'm not okay with that. Then, oh my God, we start talking here. Now we're going to use that in our favor. So again, here, remember the waning moon, I'm sorry, the last one of the phase is our unconscious mind is in the front, is guiding us. So that's why we need to pay attention to what? Our reactions. Whatever reaction we have is because someone touched the wound and triggered us for the reaction. So instead of us reacting, the invitation is, is waning moon, or is your PMS. Perceive that person did that and I wanted to explode. Write down, hold yourself, write down, I felt this way, but be profound about it. Answer yourself, I felt disrespected, I felt not seen, I felt wronged, because you're going to be able to start seeing patterns in every moon. And if you figure out you always feel wronged, what can you change in order to be able to change this reality of yourself? So the waning moon invites us to understand, to bring whatever is in our unconscious to our consciousness. Okay, so that's beautiful. It's the archetype of the feiticeira. How do I say that? Of the witch. Imagine a witch. You put something in her, she puts something in the cauldron and she stirs, and something else come from that pot. So you're gonna mix all your limiting belief patterns. You're becoming aware of it. Now, with that knowledge, you're going to feel and sit with your pain, which is different than ruminate about your pain. Okay? You're going to sit with your pain and you're going to allow it to literally express itself through your body in a safe space. And as much as you do this, easier it's going to get. Why? Because you're going to start releasing that pain. Okay, so what are the questions? What is the invitation of this waning moon? Break old mental structures in order to open space to feel confident, feel empowered, feel deserving. This is truly one of the phases that people think is hard, is the hardest, but it's also the most rewarding, because whenever we change this perception, we understand is the biggest opportunity we have. So the questions I'm inviting you to ask in this phase of the moon is, what do I need to keep cleansing in my life? What is on my subconscious? Am I aware of what truly bothers me? Because sometimes we might believe, let's give an example here. Oh, I hate when my husband, my significant other, leaves the towel on top of the bed. Let's put it this way. That might bother you. But let's say during the rest of the month, you're like, okay, or you go there and talk to the person, you know what, I already told you not to put the towel under the bed, on top of the bed, please. And then in the waning moon, you go there like, haven't I told you about the towel? Then you're gonna ask yourself the question, am I aware of what truly bothers me? It's not. Yes, it is the towel in the bed, but not really. What truly bothers you is why that person does not hear me. Why that person does not respect me. I have explicitly explained that this bothers me. What is the difficulty this person has to take the towel away and put in the bathroom? So ask yourself what truly is bothering you. It's not your boss that told you that. What is truly bothering you? Another question. Am I capable of giving voice to all the women, to all the people that inhabits me without judging them? As I said, in this phase of the moon is our unconscious at place. So meaning you might hear all the archetypes inside of you, like they are in a table. Then you have the mother here, the archetype of the mother, the archetype of the warrior, the archetype of the wise woman. So they're all talking and you are like going nuts. For example, there is this part of you that says, oh, you are so tired, you should stop, relax, and meditate. And then at the same time, there is this one, no, 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 but listen, you have to finish that project because the boss is gonna give you that compliment. And then there is the other part of you that is like, you are not paying attention to your husband. All of these women are sitting in a table right now in this phase of the moon. And it is your wish. It is in this phase of the moon that you're going to be the judge there, not judging. You're going to be like the peacemaker there. That you're like, okay, let me hear one by one. What are you saying? Okay. And you hear, you validate, you don't judge them. You validate them in order to understand what is important, in order to understand why you have the unconscious reactions when you're not able to give voice to all the women that live inside of you. Another question, how do I react to uncomfortable situations? How is my emotional control? Okay, don't get mistaken here, because being tolerant, there's a lot of people that believe they're tolerant and they're like, they take bullshit, let's put it this way, and they're like taking, they believe they're tolerant, they believe they are super, I'm super spiritual, and in reality you're just negating your feelings. You don't like discussing with people, so you know what, you better not answer that person, or you don't want arguments, or you don't want to create another problem. So this has nothing to do with tolerance or being self-aware. This has to do, I don't want to touch that hole. So let me pretend I'm not seeing, let pretend I'm not hearing. So how is my emotional control? And the last one is, am I able to perceive a trigger and work on it later in a safe space? This is super important. When someone tells you something and you realize a reaction, you ask yourself, what pain inside of me had triggered this reaction inside? So is the pain of being abandoned? Is the pain of being rejected? Is the pain of being excluded? What was the pain you felt? Because we feel a pain in whatever situation, that's the root cause of the pain, and then it gets a trigger. And then our emotional defenses come into place. Whatever it is yours, maybe yours is leaving the scene, not turning back. Maybe yours is confronting, or whatever yours might be. I hope this talk clarified a little bit how can you work with the moon as a self-knowledge tool. Just starting by asking yourself these questions is a great way for you to start your journey through your moon mandala.
If you like this video, please be an agent of the spreading of light and share it with people who you think can also benefit from these insights. I am, because we are.